Eagles fly. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles fly, on the road to victory. Eagles, Eagles! Hello everybody, and welcome to my video for the 2021 NFL Draft. This is your boy, the Green Talents, coming at you with my updates for the NFL Draft, which is going to be coming these next 5 days. I hope you guys are ready, because the draft is going to be very special and going to be very important for the Philadelphia Eagles, because they're already saying that we're going to pick a defensive back with the 12th pick. But before I go there, let's start from the beginning. The horrible season the Eagles had this year, 4, 10, and 11, which is one of the worst records in franchise history. The last time the Eagles had a horrible record, they were 3 and 11. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 and 11, and that was the last year that Chip Kelly was head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2012. I'm sorry, 2015. I'm sorry, let me get that correct. I'm thinking about some other things going on in mind right now, but just to let you guys know, when the Eagles went 4, I'm sorry, was it 4 and 12? I think it was 4 and 12. I think it was 4 and 12. What I want to say, it was either 4 and 12 or 5 and 11. One of those horrible records that the Eagles suffered in the last year of Chip Kelly. You know what I'm saying? But Chip Kelly was able to rebuild the roster in a certain degree when he got in Zach Ertz, Lane Johnson, and a few other players that the Eagles have had in his tenure. With that being said, when the Eagles drafted in 2016 via the Minnesota Vikings, who wanted a quarterback so bad that they gave up a first-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles used that pick to move up in the draft. I'm sorry, the Eagles used that pick because we didn't have a first-round pick the year 2015. We didn't have a 2015 NFL draft. The Eagles didn't have a first-round pick. So that pick that they used that year, they didn't have one in 2016. So when the Minnesota Vikings gave up that first round pick, they had a horrible. Their record was worse than us. I think the Eagles. I want to say they were 2 and 14. That was the Minnesota Vikings record, and they were supposed to have a second round pick, a first round pick. That was number 2 overall. But they traded that pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for Sam Bradford. Need I remind you, 2015, the Eagles gave up their pick for some other guy that they drafted in 2015. I forgot who that guy was. But overall, the pick that we didn't have in 2016, we got it via the Minnesota Vikings when they asked to trade for Sam Bradford, because they were quarterback starved. So they gave up their first round pick, number 2nd overall, like I said just a few minutes ago, for Sam Bradford, and we wound up getting Carson Wentz. Now, Carson Wentz no longer with the Philadelphia Eagles. He spent 5 years with the Eagles prior to his draft year. And if you guys remember, Carson Wentz had a pretty good season. He wound up starting that year, his rookie year. And he did so well into the following year, but when he had that season-ending injury, that put him on the back burner. In came the one and only Nick Foles, who had a horrible ending of the year, but he caught fire with the going into the playoffs, and we want to beat the Atlanta Falcons. We want to beat the Minnesota Vikings to get to the Super Bowl, which is what we did. Off the plays of Carson Wentz, Nick Foles did really well into the playoffs and got us our first Super Bowl championship ring. But after 2016, 17, and 18, we wound up going back-to-back playoffs. We went to the playoffs in the second year, beat the Chicago Bears only to lose to the St. Louis, only to lose to the Saints in the second round, because we wound up going to New Orleans and lost that game. The next following year, we wound up going to the playoffs again. We played the same team that beat us last playoffs, the Saints again, and lost to the Saints in the first round. And then the following year, which was last season, 2020, we did not make the playoffs at all, because the super fact is, I can't blame Carson Wentz and I can't blame Doug Peterson, because there was something going on in the organization that repelled Doug Peterson to do the thing that he did, and for Carson Wentz to do the thing that he did. So both people, or both the coach and the player, have been out by the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz has been traded to the Indianapolis Colts for a second-round pick with the possibility of being a first-round pick in 2022. So he has to play between 55 to 60% of the snaps, or maybe more than that. And we know he's going to play real well in week 1, because of the fact that he's going to start week 1, because Frank Reich, former offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, has done a magnificent job in the 3 years that he's been there with the Indianapolis Colts. The coach has been to playoffs 2 of the last 3 years that he's been coach. So that should give you some answers. That should give you some answers right there. They got a top 10 ranked defense. They got a top 10 ranked offense. So Carson Wentz should have a good year this season. It's just a crying shame we won't be able to play him. We won't be able to play Carson Wentz in probably the next couple of years, which will be 2023. Because we played him 2017 or 17, 18, 19. We played him in 2019 and barely won that game against them. So if you count 19 to 2022, that's 3 years. Next year, 2023 will be the 4th year, and we will be playing the Colts next season, along with Carson Wentz. So, without any further ado, this year we went 4-10-1. 4-10-1. That tie was against the Saints, against the Cincinnati Bengals, and that was probably one of the worst losses in the Doug Peterson era. And the last coach to have a tie game was the same team, the Cincinnati Bengals, same team. We wound up, Andy Reid was the coach then. So Andy Reid, for some reason, the Eagles coaches always seem to have a tie. For some reason, I'm not really exactly sure, but you know how that goes. So, without any further ado, then go ahead and get started on this draft analysis. As you can see, I got 2 magazines, 2 mags right here. I'm gonna go ahead and start with this one first, because this is the newest one, and this one I got in the mail. Now, this is gonna be a very talented draft. A lot of people know it. A bunch of cornerbacks, a lot of defensive front line, quite a few linebackers, and a lot of wide receivers. This gonna be the second year that the Eagles. This could be the second year that a bunch of good wide receivers coming out in the draft. So the Eagles have a possibility to get a tight end, which is Kyle Pitts, or they had a chance to get Jamar Chase, but Jamar Chase will be gone before the Eagles even pick him. So I'm gonna go ahead and get with the situation with the Eagles. I'm gonna start with them first, because from what I've got out of both papers here, they both got the Eagles picking Jalen Waddle. If you guys know Jalen Waddle is one of the top receivers coming out in this year's draft, and they saying that we're gonna pick him with the 12th pick, but see, it's a possibility Eagles could move up. Well, it being talks that the Eagles are packaging Zach Ertz along with the 12th pick and maybe a 3rd or 4th pick to move up in the top 10, which is where they were in the first place. They were number 6. They had the number 6 overall pick. Now, had they stayed in number 6, I wouldn't be even mentioning this. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of you people out there know that we had a possibility of Kyle Pitts in the palm of our hands. We don't have him now. But without any further ado, as you can see here, I got to open up at the Eagles section here because the other teams don't matter. The only thing that matters, the Philadelphia Eagles, and what they're going to do in this draft. So the Eagles got 11 picks in this draft. They got a first round pick, 12th overall. They got a second round pick in the draft, and two third-round picks, a fourth-round pick finally. They got the fourth-round pick via Miami. And so then they got, I think, 2-6, 1/5, 2-6, and I think 2-7. So if you add all together, that's 11 picks. So, but overall, like I said, this draft is very talented. So the Eagles could come out with a possibility of, let me see, with 11 picks, the Eagles could come out with 9 good players in the draft, because I expect the Eagles to trade some of their picks to move up in certain parts of the round to pick the players they're choosing. So we got a lot of ammunition, but the question is, how much ammunition are they willing to use? You know, because at first we were over the cap, but the Eagles worked some of the guys' contracts, redid them, and that got us kind of like under the salary cap, but we still over the cap just a little bit. But by next year, the Eagles should have a steady cap where they can re-sign some players and trade some players off, because a lot of these guys from on this team are no longer going to be there. So with a new coaching staff, all that is in the making of being changes, and we all know it. Carson Wentz was the first one. So that should give you some idea right there where changes actually have begun. It's begun on the offensive side of football, and the Eagles need to pick a center, because this Jason Kelce final season with the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a lot of top centers in this draft, and but one guy that comes in particular, his name is, I think out of the Alabama, his name is I think it's Landon, that's his name. He one of the top centers in this draft, but he's not a first round or second round talent. He's a possible third or fourth round talent. So the Eagles could pick a center with the third pick, or in the fourth pick, depending on how far they're willing to go to get a center. Because we do need a center, and this guy Leonard is 6'6". The Eagles need him as a tall, offensive center. We need one, because Kelce, for the last 3 seasons, has had issues blocking top tier defensive tackles over him. If you notice, if you know this season just passed and the season before, our defensive coordinators have been lining defensive tackles over Kelce, because they know Kelce cannot block a center one-on-one like he used to. He used to can put centers, he wish he can put tackles to the left or to the right, and he have had trouble with that the last 2 seasons. So that's one of the reasons why it's bearing on him. And then if you got to remember, he got hurt in one of these games this past season, but he managed to come back and play out the rest of the season. You know what I'm saying? Because this season just passed is the only time that he has been able to maintain his 100 and some starts. You know what I'm saying? Which is an Eagles record, and he's a possible future Hall of Famer at that. And don't forget, he's undersized. Jason Kelce is 6'3", 6'2", or 6'3". He's undersized, but he's athletic and quick. If the Eagles can find himself a 6'6", 6'4", 5 or 6 center, that by the quick as he is, we should be pretty good in the long run for our next for the next quarterback, depending on who that's going to be. Because at first, Hurts was the starting quarterback according to Jeffrey Lurie, but Nick Sirianni changed that last week with the rock, paper, and scissors type of shit that he mentioned, and that kind of put a lot of people in the rumbles, and the reason why he would say that, you know what I'm saying? So now that's a question mark. We don't know who will be the quarterback this year, much less going into the next season, because the next season, if Hurts don't play well this year, which a lot of people got their hearts on, you know what I'm saying? Right now, to me, when you play 4 games, 4 to 6 games, that's not really enough to me. That's not proof to me. Now, had he started after the bye week, then I wouldn't even be saying this. You know what I'm saying? So, he has to prove something to me. It's just my opinion, you know what I'm saying? So everybody got their opinion about Hurts and what they expect out of him. To me, I expect him to play well this year. If he can start week 1 injury free and throw like 300, I mean 300, over 3,000 yards, say 3,500 yards, between 35 to 4,000 yards, then he gets my utmost respect. You know what I'm saying? But if he kind of throw under 3,500 yards, I would say I say about what 30, between 25 and 30 touchdowns, maybe less than 10 picks, and then maybe 600-700 yards rushing. Then we can say that he's our franchise quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But when you start 4 games only gave him 1,000 yards passing, like 200-300 yards rushing, and he threw I think he threw 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? Because when he played the Saints really they know what to expect. That's why the Eagles beat the Saints. You know what I'm saying? But them last 3 games, teams have caught on, and they been able to corral him, rush him, and let him throw erratic passes. And a lot of them passes that he threw that were erratic caused him to throw interceptions, and that's what he did. He threw some in the Dallas game. He threw some in the Giants game, which the Giants wound up beating out Bucks. You know what I'm saying? And then the last game against the Dallas Cowboys again. So, I'm sorry, not Dallas Cowboys, the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins beat us twice this year, twice that year. So they swept the season series. But we beat the Giants, and we beat the Giants, we beat the Cowboys once, we beat the Giants once. So that goes into our 4-10-1 record. So 4-12. Yeah, right. 4-10-1, 4-11-1. Let me correct that. 4-11-1 because I've got the 16 games this season. 4-11-1. So now to go back to the one. That one tie. I hate ties because ties can work against you as well as for you. And so the Eagles had a losing record. That tie falls into the losing category. So you can maybe we just say 12 losses. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's besides the point. Like I said, this will be a very haunted, very good draft. This one here is the one I get in the mail, and this is saying the same thing. They're saying that we're going to pick, that we're scheduled to pick Jason Waddle. Let me show you guys right quick if I can find it. Give me a few seconds. Tennessee, Washington. Here we go. See, that about the glare. That see we go, and here we go. See that little picture there? That's Waddle. That's Waddle. University of Alabama. That's Waddle. They're saying the same thing. So, that's why I get those magazines for, so I can break down how I feel, what happened last year, or any other year for that matter, and try to break down as much as I can possible. You know what I'm saying? So they picked up to pick a wide receiver with the 12th overall pick. But like I said earlier in this video, they're expecting us to move up in the draft. So and they're saying Zach Ertz is going to be part of that draft trade process. And we all know that we all know that Zach Ertz is one of the best tight ends in NFL history, with the possibility of being the first 1,000-yard tight end since Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson was the last tight end to go over 1,000 yards in a season. He was the last to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so he has right now, Zach Ertz got like 5,000 or 6,000 yards for the Eagles. During his last 7 years, he's been with the Philadelphia. He had coached to 5,000 or 6,000 yards and like 100-some touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere along up in there. So if he go anywhere else, them same numbers, he should get somewhere between 700 to 800 yards receiving, with possibility of 70 or 80 catches, depending on which team gets him. It depends on how they use him. Because the Eagles use Zach Ertz pretty well, and don't forget, he caught that game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl that secured us our victory. And let's not forget the boy named the defensive end who they put on the inside, where he knocked the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. You know who I'm talking about, number 55. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of his name off. I got some more things going on in my mind at the point about this NFL draft. That's why I want to make the video for you guys, so you all can get the idea of what I'm trying to say for the draft concerns. But like I said, we got 11 picks in this draft, and I expect the Eagles to get 9 pretty good players in the draft. But it all depends on what Howard going to do, because Howard is going to be part of the draft process. And 4 of the last 5 years, he's had a horrible draft, picking players that don't fit the system. And from what I've been told, they say Peterson, the player that he picked, he didn't want. They say he wanted the boy, the boy who went to the Seattle Seahawks. They say he wanted him. You know what I'm saying? But he looked past that boy and got someone that we didn't need. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I'm not sure how Rager is going to do. Because last year, he didn't have many yards catching, and he didn't have many yards receiving, and he only had 1 touchdown pass. So, we'll see what this boy is going to do, Rager. We're going to see what he's going to do. I'm not going to mark him out yet, you know what I'm saying? But I hope they use him real well this year, because the guy needs to prove his #1 status. You know what I'm saying? And if he proves his status, then maybe Howie will get a check on that, or better yet, what they call it, he may get an excuse on that. So, I mean, just so much. And then the other guy, Quez Watkins, and then we got Travis Fulgham, who was drafted, who's an undrafted free agent. So, I mean, all these guys that played last year, we don't know what's going to happen to them after the draft is over with. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys might get traded. Some of these guys may not be no part of the roster, because you got to remember, all these guys here are part of the Peterson regime. And mind you, this is a whole new different coaching staff other than 2 guys that they kept. Aaron Moore, wide receiver coach, and offensive line coach, Stoutland. They kept them 2, because Stoutland had been part of 3. This is actually his 3rd regime. Remember now, he started with Chip Kelly, and then on to Peterson, and now he with Sirianni. So this is his 3rd regime that he's been a part of. And Stoutland is one of the top offensive line coaches in the NFL. I pray and hope that they pay him what he's worth, because if he doesn't, he can leave. He almost left after this offseason. I'm that glad that they were able to talk him into keeping him, because the super fact is, he's one of the better. Like I say, he's one of the better guys that the Eagles had one of the best coaches the Eagles have ever had in franchise history. So I hope he does stay, because he do got 2 rings with the Alabama Crimson Tide. He got 1 ring with the Philadelphia Eagles. So he has 3 rings to his disposal. That make him one of the best. But like I said before, these two magazines here got us picking Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, 5'10", I think, 180 some pounds for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a good chance the Eagles could get this guy, or they could move up in the draft and get Kyle Pitts. Now Kyle Pitts is who I want. That's who I'm dying, hoping they do get. But then like I said, we don't know. So, hope you enjoyed my talk about the NFL draft, 2021 NFL draft. I hope you enjoyed the talk about how I broke down all the coaches, players, etc., how they're going to work out. I hope it works out for the better for us, because like I said, we need some players, some guys that are going to start week 1. We need some week 1 stars that can put the Eagles back at least first, second place for first, second place for the NFC East, because this NFC East is a weak team. It's a weak conference, but the Washington football team, the New York Giants, and Dallas Cowboys, those teams are already ahead of us as far as getting draft capital or drafted players. They're ahead of us already. You know what I'm saying? That's why we in 4th place. Dallas right behind us. New York Giants and the Washington Redskins, who are now the conference championship winners. They won the conference, they won the East. You know what I'm saying? And they want to get into the playoff, only to get beat by the Saints. I think the Saints beat the Washington football team in round 1. But I mean, a lot to be said. I think I said all what I had to say. And I'm like, I got my Carson Wentz jersey on. Like I said before, to all you people out there who had something bad to say about Carson Wentz, but it wasn't Carson Wentz's fault. A lot of you guys know that now. It wasn't the Wasn't the old regime. Well, was the old regime rather, because like I said, so many things that had been said about the boy. They say he trained plays on on the field on the field. He trained the plays. He trained the play from what they were given to him in the figure of his helmet. They say he trained the plays, and if that was the case, that's probably the reason why he had all those sacks. Let's not forget the 50 sacks that he had, which is second behind. Wow, which is second behind Cunningham with 72 sacks. And 72 sacks is a record. That's an NFL record and an Eagles record. Now that 50 sack is second all time, which is 22 sack less behind that 72. So, whew. I'm hoping for a big change this year. I'm praying, hoping that my team get better. Hope that they draft the right player, because you build through the draft. Everybody knows that free agency, you can bring in 2 or 3 guys from the free agency, and other than 2 or 3 guys, only one might wind up outdoing it. You know what I'm saying? So the Eagles had borrowed some pretty good free agency. Let's not forget Alshon Jeffries. Let's not forget that boy from the I forgot that big receiver name, but he came over from the Panthers, and he signed. He played with the Eagles for a little while. So I mean, the Eagles had some pretty good guys. They really did. And a lot of them guys are no longer with the team. But the Eagles now owing like 35, 40 million in dead salary money. So dead salary money goes to the players who are no longer with the team. Carson Wentz is owed about 20-some million, and along with Alshon Jeffries, because he still owed some of that money as well. So I mean, it's just so much money the Eagles lost between those 2 guys. So I hope a lot of things go well for them this year, because we need our team to get back to what it once was. It's very important, because the draft is very important. The Eagles need a defensive back, we need a wide receiver, we need an offensive center, because we know Kelsey is getting ready to retire. We need another defensive end. We need a linebacker. And probably another receiver. You need at least 2 receivers in the draft. 2 good ones in the draft. So another receiver, and maybe another defensive tackle, because Cox getting old. Cox is 30, 31 years old. You know what I'm saying? And Brandon Graham is already 30, 31 years old. So you got an aging defensive line there with them 2 guys right there. So Eagles need another defensive end, and you need another defensive tackle, and we need a true inside linebacker, a defensive back, 2 wide receivers, and a center, and probably another offensive lineman. We need an offensive lineman and another center. So, without any further ado, I gave you all guys my mock draft and what I think about what they need to get in the draft picks, and what they need to do to get themselves back on track. So this is your boy, the Green Talons. If you enjoyed my video, let me know. Sign me, put that notification button on top. Subscribe to my channel. Share my channel, because of sharing. When you share my video, everybody out there gets a chance to know what I got to say, and they know when it's coming. And give me a comment on my channel. Comments I appreciate it, because I don't get many comments. So my comments are appreciated. So please comment on my video. I hope you enjoy my channel. Notification, don't forget, notification button on top, so when I make a video, you're going to come in directly from me to you. Subscribe to my channel, share, and comment at the bottom of the comment page of my video. The Green Talons. Once again, I am here, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Peace, one love. Fly, Eagles fly, score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch out, Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles fly, on the road to victory.